White Suit Darth Vader. This is one of the most infamous panels in the history of Star Wars comics. But what's the story behind it? Surely it's more than just Vader deciding on a new makeover, right? Yes. To understand the story of White Suit Darth Vader, we must turn the clock back 20 years to 2003. The original trilogy has long since ended, with Return of the Jedi just celebrating its 20th anniversary. Attack of the Clones came out last year, and the anticipation is underway for Revenge of the Sith in 2005. Dark Horse Comics releases a 4-issue comic called Star Wars Infinities: Return of the Jedi. It's the third Infinities run, with Infinities: A New Hope releasing in 2001 and Infinities: The Empire Strikes Back in 2002. The premise of each of these comic series was simple. They tell the stories of alternate histories to the original trilogy. Each comic tells the story of what would have happened if certain key events in their respective canon sources had played out differently. To sum it up, it was basically the same concept as Marvel's What If comics and Disney Plus series. So let's talk about the events that led to a redeemed Anakin Skywalker donning a white Jedi Darth Vader suit. Return of the Jedi begins much the same as we know, up to the point of Princess Leia, disguised as the bounty hunter Boushh, arrives at Jabba's palace on Tatooine. Much like in the movie, she is making her offer of Chewbacca to Jabba in an attempt to gain the Hutt's trust. But things go horribly wrong, and our new timeline begins. C-3PO is knocked down by Jabba the Hutt following Leia's demand of 50,000 credits, no less, on Chewbacca's bounty. The protocol droid's head comes off, leaving Leia with no means to communicate with Jabba the Hutt. With no translator and forced to reveal herself to the entire assembly, she pulls the thermal detonator and threatens to use it unless Jabba cooperates to release Han Solo. Lando Calrissian, noticing Boba Fett drawing his weapon, knocks him aside, sending his shot into Leia's elbow, accidentally activating the thermal detonator. As the crowd scatters, Fett takes the carbonite block of Han Solo away, and Leia and Chewbacca chase after him, Leia attempting to stop him, but is unsuccessful, one shot accidentally hitting the carbonite block's control panel, and 2 other shots missing the bounty hunter. With no other option, she, Lando, and Chewbacca escape the palace shortly before it blows up when the thermal detonator goes off. C-3PO tragically destroyed in the explosion, and Jabba, Bib Fortuna, and Salacious Crumb being killed. Boba Fett brings Solo aboard the Slave One and flees the planet. Commandeering Jabba's famous sail barge, they meet with Luke Skywalker and R2-D2 in the desert and decide to search the local smuggler hangouts in order to find out where Boba Fett has gone with Han Solo. Luke promises Leia that they will find him. On board the second Death Star, Darth Vader meets the arriving Emperor Palpatine, who orders Vader to stay near him, as events have not been going the way he had envisioned them recently. On Tatooine, Luke is able to get a lead on Boba Fett's whereabouts, and our heroes depart. But meanwhile, on Dagobah, the near-dead Yoda converses with the ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who assures him that Luke will soon arrive. But it is not to be, and Yoda passes into the Force alone. Palpatine, Vader, and Luke feel this at the same time, Luke departing Tatooine to head to Dagobah to find out what happened, while Palpatine orders Vader to do the same. Arriving on Dagobah, Luke finds that Yoda has died, but both Yoda and Obi-Wan appear before him. The ghosts confirm Vader's claim that he is Luke's father, and reveal that Leia is Luke's sister. They tell him that he must face Vader. When Luke refuses, they say that if he cannot, then Leia must. Luke, not willing to risk her life, finally agrees, realizing that he has to confront Vader on his own. Luke has R2 record a message for Leia, and then sends it to the rebellion. Meanwhile, Leia, Chewbacca, and Lando have tracked Boba Fett, where he intends to deliver the carbonite block of Han back into Imperial hands. Leia and the others manage to prevent this, killing Boba Fett in the skirmish. They then leave the planet, with Leia now piloting a stolen Slave One, and head to the rebel rendezvous at Sullust. Departing Dagobah, Luke is captured by a Star Destroyer and transported to the second Death Star in orbit over Endor, and is brought before the Emperor. Palpatine reveals to Luke that he knows the young Jedi hopes that his friends will not come to rescue him, then showing him what they will expect when they do arrive, a massed Imperial fleet. On a rebel capital ship, Han Solo is finally unfrozen from the carbonite and set free. However, the medics tell Leia that due to the long period of carbon freezing and damage to the controls from the stray shot taken at Boba Fett on Jabba's palace, it is unlikely that Han Solo will ever be able to regain his eyesight. Lando then prepares the Millennium Falcon for an assault on the second Death Star that is scheduled to commence when the station's energy shield is destroyed by a rebel unit on Endor's moon. Asked to come to the War Room by Mon Mothma, and before the fleet leaves for Endor, the group listens to Luke Skywalker's message, saying that Leia is his sister and that Vader is their father. They also find out that he has been captured and taken to the Death Star, and that no rescue attempt is to be made. Meanwhile, a rebel team inserted onto Endor make their way into the shield generator bunker. Suddenly, a massive group of stormtroopers and AT-ST walkers arrive, forcing the remainder of the troops to attack. Back on board the rebel fleet, Leia steals Slave 1 again and heads for the Death Star on the Endor system to try and rescue Luke. Left with no other option, the entire fleet enters hyperspace and follows her. Han realizes what has happened and asks Lando if he can accompany him and Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon. Arriving on the Death Star, Leia fights her way past the guards, but is eventually subdued and brought before Palpatine. She arrives in time to watch as the Alliance fleet arrives and is ambushed by the waiting Imperial fleet, while waiting for the ground assault team to destroy the shield generator. Much like in the movies, the Battle of Endor has now begun, this time under very different circumstances. On the forest moon, the fighting between the rebels and Imperials draws close to Bright Tree Village, upsetting the Ewoks there. As the rebels make a suicide attack on the shield bunker, the Ewoks spring into action, this time attacking both the rebels and Imperials. With the shield generator finally damaged on the forest moon, the Millennium Falcon heads for Endor's surface, and, with a still blind Han Solo taking Chewbacca's place in manning the quad turrets after the Wookiee is injured by pursuing TIE fighters, they take out the shield generator dish. Wedge Antilles now lead several X-Wings inside the Death Star, where they destroy the main reactor. Lando takes the Falcon back to the Death Star to rescue both Luke and Leia. On board the second Death Star, Palpatine orders Vader to kill Leia, but is stopped by Luke, who engages his father in a lightsaber duel. Vader overpowers Luke, with the Emperor telling him to join them or die. Leia attempts to intervene, but is subdued by Force lightning from the Emperor. Not swayed by Palpatine's proposal, Luke reveals to Vader that he and Leia are both his children. Vader is stunned by the revelation, but says that it is too late for him, allowing Luke and Vader's duel to continue. Vader is finally overpowered by Luke, losing an arm in the process, but unlike in the movie, the Dark Lord is still powerful enough to drive Luke to his knees. Luke boldly declares that he will not fight Vader anymore, and says that if he wants to strike both him and Leia down, he should do so now. Instead, Vader falls to his knees and starts to beg for forgiveness, causing him to turn from the dark side of the Force and become Anakin Skywalker once again. Suddenly, the station is rocked with a huge explosion. As the battle station's crew begin to evacuate, the Emperor escapes. Luke and Leia, carrying their wounded father, make their way to the hangar bay where Lando and the Falcon await them. The entire group makes it off the station before its destruction. Shortly thereafter, they all meet aboard the rebel capital ship. Although the Death Star has been destroyed, Luke informs Mon Mothma that Palpatine has disappeared and is still a threat. The heroes, now including a redeemed Anakin Skywalker, a Jedi once more, and now dressed in an all-white version of the life support suit he wore as Darth Vader, agree to help the rebels to hunt the Emperor down, with Luke saying that he doesn't stand a chance. And there you have it, the story of Star Wars Infinity's Return of the Jedi, that culminated with a redeemed Anakin Skywalker wearing a Jedi white version of Darth Vader's infamous suit. But where do you think the story goes from there? Does Palpatine seek out a new apprentice to battle Darth Vader and his children? Do the Skywalkers make short work of the Sith Lord? Drop your theories down in the comments. Also, let me know if you'd be interested in us exploring the Infinities A New Hope and the Empire Strikes Back timelines in other videos. Come join us to chat more at our community Discord server, linked in the description. If you enjoyed today's Star Wars video, we've got more on the screen for you right now. Also make sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to join the Red Squadron. Until next time, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Red 5, standing by.